In the summer of 1993, 4,000 people traveled to Washington, D.C. to sit quietly in rooms and meditate. They arrived with the explicit goal of lowering the city's violent crime rate using nothing but their own focused thought. Following the event, the researchers involved published results that stunned the Capitol. They claimed that during the weeks these individuals meditated, highly violent crimes, specifically homicides, rapes, and assaults, dropped by 23.3%. 10 years earlier, the movement conducted a similar study during the 1983 Lebanon War. They reported that on the days their meditation group was active in the region, war fatalities on the ground plummeted by an average of 76%. If sitting in silence can genuinely alter the behavior of criminals and soldiers hundreds of miles away, it would represent a revolution in national security. Yet, decades later, this phenomenon remains almost entirely outside the bounds of mainstream science. The architect of these claims was Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. He spent decades rebranding transcendental meditation as a quantifiable science of consciousness. Maharishi argued that peace followed a specific mathematical formula. A population's behavior changes when just the square root of 1% meditates together. For 8 billion people, that calculates to exactly 10,000 individuals. This formula drives actual geopolitical logistics today. In early 2024, the movement gathered 10,000 meditation experts in Hyderabad, India, attempting to hit that mathematical threshold and create a global peace shield. The organization pitches this to world governments as a cheaper alternative to traditional defense. They argue that funding a permanent facility of 10,000 meditators costs less than a single day of modern warfare. To justify these claims, the movement points to brainwave coherence. They use EEG tests to claim that their meditation creates highly ordered, synchronized brain function, arguing that this internal order radiates outward to the rest of society. This theory leads to the TM City program's yogic flying. Practitioners believe bouncing cross-legged in the air is physical proof of reaching maximum mental order. They explain the effect on society using a physics concept called superradiance. In a laser, a small number of atoms emit light in a synchronized, coherent manner, creating a beam illuminating a massive dark space. The movement applies this laser analogy to human consciousness. They claim groups of meditators link up to a theoretical unified field, a fundamental level of nature, allowing them to organize the surrounding environment. By wrapping ancient Vedic traditions in the terminology of quantum mechanics, the organization built a framework that sounds indistinguishable from modern physics to many followers. However, the mainstream scientific community views these claims with deep skepticism. Physicist Robert Park famously classified the Maharishi effect as voodoo science, arguing that the movement uses scientific jargon to mask religious convictions. Critics point to the movement's strict reliance on a highly complex forecasting tool known to statisticians as Box-Jenkins modeling. Box-Jenkins is a statistical method used to predict future trends based on historical data, but its accuracy depends entirely on how a researcher chooses to weigh different variables. This chart shows how flexibility can be manipulated. When looking at randomized crime data, a researcher can adjust variables for weather, seasonal trends, and historical lag. With enough tweaking, Bay tokes a predicted drop out of completely random noise. Beyond the statistics, there is a geographic flaw in the unified field theory, known as the Fairfield paradox. Fairfield, Iowa is the movement's global headquarters, serving as home to thousands of advanced meditators who practice together daily. Their numbers far exceed the mathematical threshold required for the Maharishi effect, yet the town still experiences standard average crime rates. When independent scientists examine the raw data, the reported miracles of the Maharishi effect often vanish into the background noise of the real world. The Maharishi effect is an attempt to force a deeply held religious belief in human interconnectedness into an empirical scientific framework. Dressing unproven claims in the aesthetics of science has consequences. It risks funneling attention and millions of dollars away from actionable, verified solutions to global conflict. Meditation offers genuine, scientifically backed personal health benefits, such as reduced stress. But those individual improvements are a far cry from the claim that a small group can stop a war through a mathematical magic trick. True science relies on independent, outside verification. Until a global peace shield can be proven by observers outside the movement, the Maharishi effect sits in the borderlands between religion, philosophy, and unverified data.